Hi, this is Lee Hong from Group C4. Today I'm going to show the tutorial on how to make a simple game using Unity game engine. To begin with, we need to visualize how the gameplay is going to look like. For our example, the game is going to look like this, some kind of soccer game where the player, which is the square, need to control the ball to reach the goal. So let us begin. We open the Unity Hub, make new project. I'm just gonna name it as example, choose 2D and hit create, and we wait for the software to set up and launch. To create a game, we need a player, so we go to the asset tab, choose create 2D sprite square and name it as player. We can also right-click in the hierarchy, select 2D object sprite square. Then we drag the player into the scene. Next, we have to add some component for the player sprite. So we choose the player in the hierarchy, go to add component, and we're gonna add box, collider, and rigid body to apply collision with other objects and physics on the player. As well as a script to control the player movement. I just name it player's movement. Let's open it. First, we're gonna need the reference to the rigid body component, so we create public rigid body 2D RB. Second, we have to create the vector2 movement variable. The get axis raw in bracket horizontal will take the input for the horizontal dimension, while the another will take the vertical. When we input left, the get axis raw sentence will generate the value of -1 and store the value in the movement variable. The update function will handle the input, while the fixed update function will take charge on the actual movement. The fixed update is executed on a fixed timing compared to the update function, which is influenced by the frame rate. Now we can use the movement variable to control our player's movement inside the fixed update function. So we type rb.movePosition in bracket rb.position, where the rb.position represents the current position, plus the movement, times the move speed, where I declare 5. We multiply it again with the time of fixed data time to make sure the moving speed is constant. Then we save it and back to the Unity. If we hit play now, you can see that the player just falls directly. This is because we haven't assigned the rigid body to the script. So we go to the player and drag to the rigid body 2D to the RB variable in the script. If we hit play again, you can see that we successfully make the player move. After that, we need to create walls. First, directly in the hierarchy, select the square sprite again and adjust its size. I just wanna make it red and add the box collider component onto it. Then proceed with duplicating and adjusting the walls to make the border of the field. After the walls are built, I build an empty and name it as border. Select the first wall, then press Shift and click the last wall to select all the walls, and put all the walls under the border. Next, we have to create a bow. So as usual, right click in the hierarchy, select the circle sprite and name it as bow. For the bow, we need the components rigid body and circle collider. To make the bow bouncing, we go to Asset tab, create 2D, select Physics Material 2D, and on the Physics Material 2D, we change the bounciness to 1. Then drag it into the rigid body component in bow sprite. For the score of the game, we need a script to control the scoring system. Hence, we add a script for the bow and name it as scoring. Then we start coding the script. First, we create a public variable with integer data type, name, score value, which can be referred in other scripts. Then we make our own function instead of the debug function, as we are not gonna need them. The function will sense the collision between the bow and the goal to increment the score value. Then we save it and wait for the compile process. Next, we need to create a user interface which shows the score. We select UI text. Then we adjust the position of the text to the center of the canvas by pressing alternate and click the position we select. After that, we need to create a script for the text UI to indicate the score earned, where I just name it UI. For the coding, since this is related to UI, hence we need to declare using Unity engine.ui. Then we're gonna make a goal variable, and inside the start function, type goal equal to get component angle bracket text close angle bracket, then bracket semicolon. Inside the update function, type goal.text equal to open quotation mark, goal, column mark, close quotation mark plus scoring.score value, which means the score value from the scoring script we just created just now. Save it and back to Unity. Finally, we have the goal to make. So go to hierarchy, create a square sprite and name it as goal. Just design it following your preference. Apparently, we also need a box collider component for the goal sprite. Now, everything should function properly, but before that, I'm gonna make the world larger and change its color. finally we can hit play. That's our game. That ends our tutorial video. Thanks for watching.